You see this box of pasta right here? This pastina from Ronzoni? This box of pasta on the internet is going for about $20 a box on eBay. $20 a box? Why are people selling pastina on eBay for $20 a box? That is because Ronzoni, the maker of this pastina, has decided to discontinue it. They will no longer be selling it. And in case you're not tapped into pastina subculture, it's caused a storm across the internet and everyone's freaking out about it. And it is true, Ronzoni is not going to be selling this anymore, but pastina's not dead. It's not going nowhere, and I'm gonna save it for you right now. You see, I woke up last week with a bit of a scratchy throat. I felt something coming on. So I hit my pantry in search of that Italian penicillin. Everyone's favorite childhood cure for everything, pastina. Only to find the last actual box of pastina from Ronzoni that I may ever own. But there's something about pastina that everyone is getting wrong, including Ronzoni, and that is that pastina is not a pasta shape, it's a pasta style. Pastina to most people is what your Italian mom or grandma would make for you when you were sick as a kid. It's a very small star-shaped pasta, usually served in a broth with Parmesan cheese and sometimes an egg drop. It is one of the most nostalgic thing you ate as a kid growing up as an Italian American. And in Italy for that matter as well. No matter how picky of an eater you were, if you were sick as a kid and you were handed a bowl of pastina, it was like a cozy reminder that everything was gonna be all right. Which is why the news of it being discontinued had caused such a stir. But the only reason for that is because the most popular brand of pastina was Ronzoni, and because Ronzoni decided to name this shape pastina, which is technically incorrect, and is the reason for most of this confusion. Now, before I explain, let us actually understand the reason why Ronzoni's not going to be selling pastina anymore. You see, Ronzoni doesn't actually make the pastina itself. It uses a third-party manufacturer who has the dye capable of producing that specific shape for pastina that you knew growing up. I imagine there aren't a ton of people capable of producing that shape at that cost and that quantity to satisfy a Ronzoni order. And the third-party manufacturer that was producing for Ronzoni decided it could no longer produce the shape. Maybe it wasn't feasible, maybe they had financial problems, maybe the maintenance of the dye was too much because it's such a very specific, specialized, small shape. Who knows? But Ronzoni says they're actively trying to find new suppliers for the shape, so who knows? They could come back. However, let us be honest, Ronzoni is not the best pasta brand. Neither is Barilla. These are like the McDonald's of pasta brand. They're the biggest, cheapest players on the market. They use silicone dyes that shoot the pasta out faster for efficiency, so they can make pasta faster and cheaper at the cost of quality. Whereas a good quality pasta, like my friends at DiCecco, they use bronze dyes. They dry the pasta slower. It's a much slower process, a little bit more expensive, but is such a higher quality product than the other guy. You don't see any sort of like special indication of their process on their box, because there's just nothing special about Ronzoni. But I will be honest, when it comes to such a small shape like this, the quality and the brand doesn't really matter. It's so small and it's served in a broth usually that the quality is kind of undiscernible once it's cooked. And to be honest, the real shock to me is that Ronzoni is the only company that has to stop selling pastina, or what they call pastina, which, like I said, is an incorrect name. This pasta shape is actually called stelline because pastina doesn't refer to a shape, it refers to a category. It's literally called little pasta. So anything that is tiny can be used in the style of pastina, which is not only the style of pasta, but I guess is considered a dish as well. So you're not gonna be able to find Ronzoni pastina going forward. This is the last box I have, and I might just hold on to it and sell it for you for $150 down the road if you guys still keep freaking out about it. In the meantime, here are some options. Orzo is one of the original pastinas. This is perfectly acceptable, and again from DiCecco. That's my favorite brand. Another beautiful small pasta that could be used in pastina that's fun is farfalline. It's like really tiny bow ties. You can use fregola. Fregola are just like little big balls. slightly bigger than Ancini di Pepe, which is my favorite of all. If you find these O's, these are perfect. These are like remind you of SpaghettiOs, but they're small as well, and they would work in pastina perfectly. You could use tubetti, you could use dettolini, you can use panettine. And when you go to the store, anything small you see could be used for pastina, like these little tiny tubes, this tiny lumachine, or these little soup shells. You got options. Now my personal favorite, Ancini di Pepe. I found it from Ronzoni. I prefer it from DiCecco. I could not find it anywhere. And I asked my rep at DiCecco, the guy that I get DiCecco pasta from when I do the Sunday supper events. I said, why can't I find Ancini di Pepe anywhere? It's sold out everywhere. And his response was, because you all went nuts. DiCecco stepped up and filled in the gap that Ronzoni left. So now the go-to is DiCecco Ancini di Pepe, or whichever one you want to try. Pastina is not a shape, it's a style. And even if you still want that traditional stellini pastini, it's still available. Barilla sells it, and I found San Giorgio sells it. And I believe Rustica Abruzza, it's pronounced Rustichera d'Abruzzo. I'm sorry I butchered that name. Sells it by its proper name, Stelline. But again, if you can't find any of these pastas in your local supermarket, you can absolutely order them online. Buy a whole case of them, keep them there. You'll never have to worry about running out to the store to find them. So now you don't have to worry about pastina. No one can take pastina away from us when you know what pastina actually is. Now get out of here.